To Becca's by the Bay. I'm Becca, and hopefully our live stream is happening. I hope there's enough light happening here as well because we have a little 1950s home and got some extra lighting. It is the evening, so we'll see how this works out. All right, so as you guys know, I'm trying to put up some prepper pantry videos. We do all of our cooking from scratch, so and gluten free due to my celiacs and other health issue gut stuff related things that Wayland and I have. So this is the first time I've ever done Mylar food storage uh, for our pantry and things like that. And I did a lot of looking into it and things like that. I ended up deciding to go with these gallon size Mylar bags. They're 10 by 14. This is SHX Well food storage bags. They are BPA free and food grade. So, like when you're looking into getting Mylar bags, you want to make sure that they're food grade. BPA free, waterproof, lightproof, puncture resistant. I forget how many mils this is. I think this is a 7 mil one. And on the back, you can see they are heat sealable by using an impulse sealer, which I use on our soaps for shrink wrapping. You can use a regular iron or a flat iron for your hair. These are actually zippered, so if you're going to be using them fairly soon, you don't have to worry about necessarily heat sealing them, just making sure that they're zippered with an oxygen absorber. So this actually came with oxygen absorbers, and so I want to finish. Each one is sealed up. I had to put these in a Ziploc baggie because you don't want them to be activated until you put them inside your Mylar bag. So anyway, I did a bunch of other different things, and so I've got some I need to finish using up. So we did get our order in from Jovial. I got my organic einkorn wheat berries. So this product Italy. I know there's possibly going to be a shortage on all this stuff, and being gluten free, it's really hard to get stuff anyway. So normally we were buying just the all-purpose flour over here at Natural Grocers. A lot of times it's been sold out. They had it on sale, I think, for $4.99 for this 2 pound. Now it is currently around $7.10 and up for 2 pounds. So the prices are definitely going up, and the availability has not been the best, and it probably is going to get worse. So what happened is I ordered directly from Jovial, and this is actually 10 pounds. So they sent me 10 pounds came in that box. Your limit was, I think, 60 pounds, and you got, I think you get free shipping if you spend $100. So what I did, and what's recommended because of all your grains and dry storage and things like that, you do want to make sure that these are either vacuum sealed or Mylar sealed bags with oxygen absorbers to remove the oxygen, because there can be little critters or bugs that comes in all the grain. It just always happens. You won't see them right away until they're ready to hatch. So what happens is, long-term storage-wise, if you can get to use this in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, this will be bad because bugs will have hatched and they'll start eating on it, and then it's not really good. And you don't want to be eating bugs, although you could, but it'd be yucky. But anyway, so to prevent that, what we did is we have a deep freezer, and I put this in there for 3 days. And earlier, or sometime yesterday, I took them out of the freezer. And it's recommended, some people were saying, because these will be sweating after you take them out of your freezer, put them on a towel. And I took them out of the box, put them on a towel, and then throughout the day just kind of flip them over, so that it would absorb some of the moisture. And you really want to make sure that they are completely dry before you start packaging them up. So you can see there's air in here, and it's not really the best for long term, and we're not going to be using this right away since I do have some Mylar bags already made up of this. So we're going to just open this up, and there's different cc's that the oxygen absorbers come in. This is 400. It's recommended, depending on the food that you're storing, to put at least a 200 cc oxygen absorber in a 1 gallon bag. Now that varies with the food that you have. There's a chart for that, and I can put the link, I think, below. Where was that? I printed it out, and so when you go to, darn, okay, I'll have to look for it. City Prepper on YouTube had some links, and I think that's where I got this link, which doesn't tell me where I got the link on here. But anywho, I printed it out, and it was like a USDA, I think, recommendations of, depending on the size Mylar bags that you had and the product that you were putting in it. Ours is the 10 by 14 Mylar bag. Anything that's wheat, flour, rice, or a type of grain, you want to use 100 cc oxygen absorbers. It said 3 to 4. So these are 400. So one 400 cc would work. One 500 cc would work. If you had a 1,000 cc's, that would work, or if you had a 2,000 cc's, depending on what you ordered. So what they sent me was fine. But if you were Mylar packaging up pasta, beans, or anything that was a little bit less dense and had more airspace, you're going to need, it was recommended more, but on here it says it looks like it's the same. But you would need at least 400 cc's, where you could get away with possibly doing this with like a 200 cc versus your beans. You definitely need a 400 cc. I know that doesn't probably make any sense, but anywho, they do come in different things. So basically, I just open up my bag, stick in an oxygen absorber, because otherwise I would probably forget. So the first thing I do is I open my bag, I stick one in, and these ones have the gusseted pouch, which really helps you to stand your bag up. I was weighing things out, but since I already know this is 5 pounds, and about 5 pounds fits in a gallon bag. So you just want to tap everything in there. And I could probably fit a little bit more, but I'm going to bend over my bag and squeeze out as much oxygen as possible. And I'm going to do 3/4 of the way on my zippered seal. Press out the rest of the oxygen and just make sure it's sealed completely. So the other thing I was doing, I had it a second ago. Alright. These I purchased, they're chalkboard labels on Amazon. I think they were $10 for a pack of like 100 of them. I've been putting them on all my mason jars. And it comes with a little chalk pen. So they come in different designs. I went with the oval. And I just peel one off. It's a kind of like a repositionable sticker, and they're reusable. So I kind of liked that idea. Anywho, I like being able to see it on my bag. So I put a sticker on my bag. I put the date, which is 3/20/22, and it is the Jovial wheat berries. Fine corn. So I'm putting today's date that I packaged these, because I just purchased them, and what it is, and then I have my totes from Lowe's that I'm putting them in, which have some bay leaves in them. So I put bay leaves in my tote, and then all these bags go in there, and I've chalk labeled on my tote. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm doing a little bit of prep. My freezer is kind of small, so I can only do, since I have other stuff in my freezer, I can only do one box at a time. And then I just kind of wanted to go over a little bit about um, the City Prepper had a link as well, and I really liked his channel because he's really calm about prepping. He's not like, oh, you got to go out and get all this right now. Now, we do have some shortages coming up, and I feel like it is a good idea to have some things on hand, so I'm not trying to run around and get things that are special for my diet, because I know if we needed help or something like that, this stuff is not going to be available for me. So it is, he had a, like, if you were stocking your pantry and you were like, how much food do I need for one person for like a year? I know that's been kind of like a big thing for people, and he had a chart on that, and I thought it was really interesting. I'm just going to kind of go over what he was recommending or found recommended by other charts and other things like that. And now this varies depending on what you eat in your diet. But it was talking about for one person for 1 year for food storage. Grains, it was let's see, 300 pounds of white rice. Now, 20 pounds of corn, 400 pounds of wheat, 50 pounds of oats, 15 pounds of barley, and 150 pounds of pasta. Seems like a lot, but this was like a year for one person, and this seemed very grain heavy, which would probably stretch out meals and things like that. Now, you could like probably rearrange the numbers or whatever. Like if your family doesn't eat certain things, just buy, like, we have gluten-free oats. I would probably purchase um, more gluten-free oats than I would corn, because we don't eat corn and we don't eat barley, um, and we eat a different type of rice. So like you would pick out whatever your family eats. These were just recommendations. Um, and then like beans, it said 240 pounds total. So you would get like either pinto, red kidney beans, black beans, split peas, things like that. And it was different weights by that. So we don't eat beans or lentils since we're allergic to them. So I would probably, for our family, just do more pasta, or we bought a pasta machine, so I'm going to be making pasta by hand, and I'm going to see if I can do that pretty soon here, is make some pasta, dehydrate it, and package it up. So I think that would be really good to do. So what else? It also recommended 10 quarts of fats. So your fats are like your olive oil, your shortening, your lard, coconut oil, or butter powder, which I showed you guys in the last pantry tour. You could also do ghee, which I've done. I've done some canning of some ghee. So, like, whatever your family likes for oils to cook with. We like olive oil. We like sunflower oil for, like, making mayonnaise. I do like ghee because I love butter, but ghee is shelf stable. And I do have lard and coconut oil and things like that, and some other fats that I have for making soap. But again, whatever I have on hand for soap making could be used for cooking. So I'm probably pretty good on our oils and fats. I would like to probably can up some more ghee. Sweeteners, it recommends 120 pounds. And, it lists white sugar. We don't buy white sugar, so we actually purchase the cane sugar. It recommends brown sugar. We don't use that either, so I do have coconut sugar on hand. Um, Maple syrup. is that? Oh, it says caro syrup. We don't use that because that's from corn. And honey. We have some honey on hand as well. So that was 120 pounds. Seems like a lot of sugar for one person. But anywho, and I do have some sugar-free options in our household that I have stocked up on. So we stocked up on cane sugar, coconut sugar, maple syrup, honey, and our molasses and some sugar-free options. So you could stock up on your Splenda or your stevia, things like that. And then it was recommended to have 10 pounds of salt. Now, salt's really versatile. You can use salt for a lot of different things. You can use salt for fermentation, for pickling, for curing meats and things like that. And salt is like an essential nutrient that you do need. Especially down here in the South, we sweat a lot. It's hot, it's humid, and you need to replenish those electrolytes. And salt, with the iodine, will help replenish your electrolytes. So a little bit of salt is good. And depending on if you drink milk or not, it was recommending 50 pounds of milk. Now, milk could be powdered, milk could be cream, sour cream, it could be alternative milks. You could be doing like nut milks. I would say probably almond milk would be your best bet. To maybe like sprout and dehydrate some almonds to have long term and dry pack them. That way you can make almond milk. Um, I don't know how long the almond milk lasts that you can get from the Dollar Tree and other things that come in those shelf stable containers. You'd have to look at the expiration on those. I don't know how long that they really last. Um, Juice. Now it said it recommended 25 pounds of juice. I also wrote down for us. I have some juice, but not a lot of juice. We do more like powdered electrolytes. So I do like have another powdered electrolyte. It has sugar in it, which I didn't realize that till after I bought it. But we do have that on hand. Um, 20 pounds of meat. Think here. Oh, okay. So since we weren't purchasing beans or legumes and things like that, and it was recommended to have 240 pounds of beans and lentils, I added that to our meat list. So if you weren't purchasing any beans or lentils, instead of the 20 pounds of meat per person for a year, you would get 260 pounds of meat for one person for a year. So I altered that a little bit. Let's see. It said fruits, vegetables that were canned. So your fruits and veggies that you have canned. It was recommended 90 pounds. Is about a pound depending on the size can you buy, so about 90 cans. I put in here miscellaneous condiments, spices, powdered cheeses, pasta sauce. I thought it would be a good idea to add protein powder. My husband and I enjoy a good protein powder. You choose whatever your family likes. If they don't like it, don't buy it. Just thought that was something good to add to the list. And some of the other things I thought to add to this list that were not on here was I have some sprout seeds on hand for growing microgreens, and we haven't used them, and they've been dry canned. So I still have those available. But that's actually a really good idea. If you don't have a lot of space to grow things, you could do some microgreen sprouting. It'd be a good idea to get some seeds on hand for that. Yeast for making breads, vitamins, and like some first aid and medicines and things like that, and pain relief, and things to just keep your immune system up. We make our own cough syrup. I have a video on that, and we also make our own elderberry syrup, and I have a video for that as well. Oh, and I just thought it would be a really good idea and I'm putting this together. I have a recipe book, but I have some new recipes I've been trying out, and I want to make sure I have kind of like all of our essential recipes in one book. And the other thing that was not on this list, let's see, was we all know water is super important, and having access to clean water or ability to filter that water is super important as well, and storage of that water for any type of emergency. So, we saw that with the Texas freeze when we didn't have running water here. It was like every day getting water for our animals, for our plants, and for us. And it was a struggle and it was a challenge, and we met that with friends and neighbors and help from people and things like that, and that was awesome. But it was like a 2-month process of trying to get running water here because there was no parts. So we ended up buying more water storage. Our rain catchment had busted as well, so we couldn't get pipes for that for probably, I don't know, a couple of weeks or something. And so we lost most of our rain catchment, and then we used the rest of it for the animals. We have a Berkey water filter to filter our water, but I didn't have enough water in hand in our house. It was, I think I had about 6 or 8 gallons of stored water that was filtered, and then buying water. I don't like bottled water. They put stuff in it. They put like baking soda and different things, and it messes with my gut. So that is one route to go, is to have some bottled water, but it can taste funny if it's stored for too long. And then we did get those 5 gallon and 3 gallon jugs to fill up. So I have extra water storage of that's filtered. And I just rotate through that from time to time. We use it up and then refill it. Use it up and then refill it. So it's always fresh and not sitting and getting kind of stagnant where you'd have to add some kind of additive to like refreshen up your water because it can taste weird over time or something like that. I forget what it is exactly. But anyway, we just kind of always rotate through it so it's always fresh. So I thought those are some good tips to share along with your prepper pantry or just stocking your pantry and being sensible about it. Just try to have like things that you can put meals together and having your recipes on hand that you wouldn't be downloading or looking up on the internet. So stuff that you could make bread rolls with, stuff that you could make like a cornbread or a faux cornbread. We use millet flour. How to make bagels. Bagels are pretty easy. Pizza or tortillas or pasta. Let's see. Um, and just knowing how to make like your kombucha and things like that. Although I don't know if we'll have refrigeration, so that would be something to think about. And then just write down, this was what I was thinking of when I was looking at all of this, was making a list of our favorite things to eat, things that are easy to make, and possibly putting together some mixes. Since we don't buy pre-made mixes at the store, I might think about putting some mixes together or just having those recipes really handy because I have the ingredients to make them and put them together. So, we like to do different casseroles or like an instant mac and cheese that we make ourselves, how to make, our favorite muffins or pancakes and super easy cookies. Pemmican was something that we haven't tried making. That's a really good um, long-term food that you could have that doesn't spoil. It's basically meat and lard, dehydrated cooked up meat and mixed with like lard or ghee. So that was something we were thinking about trying. Um, let's see. Got our gluten-free oatmeal, instant mashed potatoes. They store really well. And I do need to make some more granola. I'm low on that. I'm experimenting with dehydrated eggs, and having some kind of chocolate on hand is always good. So I have a hot cocoa mix, and I'm going to put a video up on that, on how to make that recipe. So I have a keto hot cocoa mix that I make. And that's kind of like, and then having, this probably is another thing that you can add to your pantry list to have on hand, is just kind of a way to be able to have a way to cook your food either outside on propane or, start thinking about, okay, if you didn't have electricity and things like that, or how would you cook your food if something, the grid went down and stuff like that. So thinking of ways to have fire starters, to have fuel on hand, a way to cook your food, a way for lighting, and things like that. So that was kind of like the list of things I was thinking about. And I thought that this would be really helpful maybe to somebody else who might be feeling overwhelmed about trying to stock their pantry or, whatever's happening in the world. There's always stuff happening in the world. There's natural disasters that happen all the time. And it's a good idea to be organized before stuff like this happens. And it seems like every time you go through something, you're like, oh man, I wish we really had this. Or man, it would have been so much more easier or helpful if we had this on hand. So that's what we did with the last natural disaster we had with the Texas freeze, was we started making a list of things that we'd like to have on hand, looking into different ways of doing that, the costs, and what would be or work best for our situation here. And I think I'm not sure if I did a video on the Carolina cooker, but that was one of the things that we went and purchased, was the Carolina cooker for a low pressure propane tank to be able to cook our cast iron and things like that outside. And so I really like that. Works really good, but I don't believe it can do my pressure canning. So I'm looking into what I would need to do the pressure canning. And then the other thing that we didn't have, because I didn't expect this was going to happen, um, I never thought I'd be buying the wheat berries in bulk like I am. And I don't know how available they will be, but I probably have enough available for us for quite a while. And even though I have a Vitamix where I can grind this up into flour, it does do wear and tear on the motor. And so my Vitamix will end up needing to get fixed or replaced sooner because of the wear and tear on the motor, because it's really, when you're doing stuff like that, it just tears on your Vitamix. They even tell you that when you talk to them. So, I did look into getting a grain mill, and I ordered this one. It's a hand crank one, and it's back ordered like 2 months. The factory is just overwhelmed right now with all the orders, and the prices of them keep going up. So I wanted to get ours before it was astronomically impossible to get it. And so I did order it. It's on its way in about 2 months. Hopefully it'll get here. And I had purchased us a used coffee mill grinder as well, that you crank by hand, because I've been buying our coffee beans in bulk and getting a much better price than what we're getting at the stores. So that was something else I was looking at. What else was there? I'm looking over at my stuff that I've been going through, because there's a lot of things I've been looking at and kind of tick off on my list of things to do. Was that it? That might be it. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to answer any questions, especially about specialty diets. I'm going to probably do another pantry tour, just to show you guys my baking section, because we have a little house here. It's just, I can't have all of my stuff in one area because of the way the house is designed. And so we've come up with some creative ways to um, get things stored up in a little bit more of a bulk way, so that we can make everything from scratch. So I have kind of like a baking section near the kitchen, and I have some things in our kitchen, and then we have another section of food storage that we have a working pantry and work through. But this is going to be a little bit longer storage on the wheat berries, and I thought it would be helpful to show you guys what we're doing, kind of what we purchased, and what you might want to think about purchasing. I know people are getting the really big Mylar bags for like 5-gallon buckets, and we don't really have space for that. And then the other thing I thought about was, every time you're going into a 5-gallon bucket and they didn't have a zippered pouch, you're going to have to heat seal it closed every single time you go in there to get something from it. And then the buckets are really heavy. I have issues with my neck and shoulders, and I can't lift those buckets. It's too heavy. Or for whatever reason, if there's a natural disaster, and a lot of times there's natural disasters where they're telling you you need to evacuate, right? So you're on the road, you need to pack a bag, a tote or something of things that you need, and these are so much easier to just like have a tote and be like, okay, I'm grabbing my oatmeal, I'm grabbing my rice, I'm grabbing, I don't know, whatever it is, it might be a soup mix or something that you made that's a dehydrated soup mix, you just add water to. And I feel like this is a lot more handier to like travel with and pack up kind of right away, maybe, than to like be like, oh, I've got 5-gallon buckets. I'm gonna take 5-gallon buckets, or I'm gonna take all this other canned stuff, or you don't want to take stuff in glass because it could break. So I just thought this was like a better size to work with. So anyway, I hope that was hope that was helpful, some helpful tips. And thanks for hanging out with me here at Becca's by the Bay Homestead. We're working on our working pantry, our prepper pantry, whatever you want to call it. And hope you guys come back again. And we'll see you next time. Have a great evening.